Hi, hello, namaste. Welcome back to Needs of Children. ಆತ್ಮೀಯ SSLC ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳೇ, ಹಿಂದಿನ ವಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ SSLC ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತೆ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಂದಿನ ವಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು in this video we are going to get the information about most expected 3 marks question with complete analysis. We are going to get the information. So let's come to the yavella questions in answers. So here is the history part from the lesson, the impact of British rule in India. Report changes in the policy system during the British period. The answer, Lord Cornwallis implemented the efficient police system. He created a new post, superintendent of police. He divided a district into many stations and put every station under a kotwal. He put every village under a care of chowkidar. The entire police system was brought under the control of British officers. The police officers were under the power of magistrates. The police law was implemented. And the next question, analyze the judicial system during the British period. 2 types of courts were needed to be established in every district. Diwani Adalat as a civil court and Fauzdari Adalat as a criminal court. In Diwani Adalat, Hindus were dispensed the justice as per the Hindus' scriptures. The Muslims were as per the Shariat. The British legal procedures were introduced in the criminal courts. Civil courts came under the administration of European officers. The next, make a list of the effects of British education in India. Indians could develop modernity, secularism, democratic attitudes and rationality, nationalistic ideals. Indian languages and literature were encouraged. Newspapers across new social and religious Reformation movements emerged. The thinking of social reformers influenced Indians. The independence struggles of the countries influenced the Indian independence movement. Indians could understand and appreciate their rich tradition. And the next lesson, opposition to British rule in Karnataka. In this lesson, question, how was Hyder Ali come to power in Maisuru even he was a common soldier? Hyder Ali was keenly observing the political developments of Maisuru. He came to prominence during the siege of Devanahalli and military action against Nizam of Arcot. He won the hearts of soldiers. He is widely used his discreet weapons. He weakened the power of Dalwai, sidelined the king Krishnaraja Vadayar and established control over the administration. And the next question, what are the effects of the Second Anglo-Maisuru War? Hyder Ali was defeated in the Battle of Portonova in 1781. Tipu Sultan was waging war in Malabar region. The British tried to capture Mangaluru and Bidanuru. He defeated the British. The Treaty of Mangaluru ended the Second Anglo-Maisuru War. The next question, mention the results of Third Anglo-Mysuru War. Or what are the conditions of the Srirangapatna Treaty? Tipu was forced to part with half of his kingdom. He was also forced to pay 3 crore rupees as war damage fee. He had to pledge 2 of his children as a guarantee against the payment. He was also forced to release the prisoners of war. The British withdrew the combined army from Srirangapatna. The next question, explain the Surapura rebellion against the British briefly. In 1857 CE, British notices that the representatives of Nana Sahib were present in Surapura. This made British suspicious of King's tensions. The British appointed an officer named Chambal to report on the various activities of the king. The officer submitted a report to the resident of Hyderabad that the king involved in misadministration. The British army captured Surapura in 1858 CE. He was arrested and imprisoned at Sikandarabad prison. The next question, explain the rebellion of Kitturu against the British. After the death of Shivalinga Rudra Sarja, Chennamma adopted a boy named Shivalingappa and started ruling Kitturu as a queen regent. Thackeray attempted to take over Kitturu kingdom under the doctrine of lapse policy. Chennamma considered war was inevitable, so she prepared for the war. In the battle, Thackeray was shot dead. Many British were taken as the prisoners of war. The British attacked Kitturu again under the leadership of Colonel Deck. Chennamma was defeated in the battle and captured by the British army. Describe the role of Sangolli Rayanna in the fight against the British. He fought with Rani Chennamma in Kitturu against the British. He was caught in war and released after that. He went on organizing secret meetings at sensitive geographical locations. He had an army of 500 men. Nandagada, Khanapura and Sampangavi were his main places. An Amaldar named Krishnaraya joined hand with the British and cunningly captured him. He was declared as an offender and was hanged till death. Next question, explain the method of resisting the British power by Dondiya Wag. He built his own private army and fought along with Tipu Sultan. Due to differences with Tipu, he built a small army and started his operations. He organized the army with the unhappy soldiers of Tipu's army and the feudatory rulers who had lost power. He captured Bidanuru and Shivamogga forts and made unsuccessful attempt to capture Chitradurga fort. He did not give up his fight even after the attack of British, Nizam of Hyderabad and Marathas. He continued his warfare. The next question, describe the role of Puttabasappa in the farmers' rebellion in Kodagu provinces. Basically, rebellion of Amarasulya was a farmer rebellion. Swami Aparampara, Kalyana Swami and Puttabasappa organized a rebellion against the British. Puttabasappa took over the leadership of rebellion. Puttabasappa later presented himself as Swami Aparampara. He organized the rebels and calmed down people. He looted the treasury and prison of Bantwal. The British captured them with the help of people in Kodagu. Explain the revolt of Bedas of Halagali. In 1857, the British banned the usage of weapons. The Bedas, who always kept guns as a part of custom and they were good hunters, they rebelled against the British when they were asked to surrender their firearms. The British army entered Halagali village to suppress the rebellion. They suppressed the Bedas in an inhuman way. All the rebels were hanged till death. The next lesson, social and religious Reformation movement. Here is the question. What are the preachings of Brahmo Samaj? Advocated monotheism, opposed meaningless rituals, every person should live with dignity. Brahmo Samaj intended to assure equality to women by opposing polygamy. It also opposed child marriage. One can take good things from everywhere. He gave importance to English education. Next question. State the contributions of Rajaram Mohan Rai. He started Brahmo Samaj in 1828. He started Atmiya Sabha in Calcutta. He wanted to purge Hinduism by removing caste system and superstitions. Due to his efforts, then Governor General William Bentinck brought in new prohibiting sati system in 1829. He published a journal named Samvada Kaumudi in Bengali language. He is called as progenitor of Indian social reformation movement. He wanted the Indians to welcome the thinking process of the Europeans. Next question. Explain the Young Bengali movement. This was started by Henry Vivian Derozio. Rational thinking would liberate people from the clutches of superstitions and social discrimination. He was an advocate of women's rights and opposed caste-based discrimination. Tried to instill the spirit of free inquiry in the minds. He also worked towards creating textbooks to inculcate new education system. Many of his students who had come from traditional families were deeply influenced by Derozio's thoughts and joined their hands in spreading the movement across Bengal. The influence of this movement was limited to Calcutta and few across in Bengal. Next question. What are the reformations of Dayananda Saraswati? The Arya Samaj was started in the year 1875 by Dayananda Saraswati. He marked his thoughts in Satyagraha, Satyartha Prakasha. He realized Vedas have remedies for all problems. He declared back to Vedas. Shuddhi movement was one of the important programs of Arya. Cow protection associations were started to protect cows. What are the aims of Arya Samaj? We should believe in one formless God. No one is Shudra or Brahmin by the birth. Caste-based system was rejected. Encouragement of intercaste marriages, rejection of polygamy and child marriage. Men and women are equal. One should study Vedas and other ancient texts. Next question. What are the reformations of Satya Shodhaka Samaj? Satya Shodhaka Samaj helps to provide equal rights to non-Brahmin class and women. He opened schools for Shudras and girls. They established hostel for girls. The work of Pules is important in the direction of establishing society based on equality. In vehemently opposed gender inequality, denial of human rights and exploitation of people and practice of untouchability. Even though Pule belongs to Mali caste, he allowed people of all castes to draw water from his well. Savitri Bhai Pule joined hands with him in his endeavor. Discuss the Aligarh Reformation movement. Or a question can be also asked like this. What are the reformations of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan? Fought against traditions, superstitious, ignorance and irrationalities. He said, without an open mind, any social and intellectual development is impossible. He did not support the Pardha system for Muslim women. He called for educating Muslim girls. He did not accept polygamy. He utilized the institution to spread the Western scientific and cultural ideas. The next question, explain the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda believed that people should be educated first. He wanted legal institution to implement appropriate rules to support reformation. He believed it is the duty of the religion to provide light. The one who responds to the poor is Mahatma. He opposed caste system. He opposed untouchability. Next question. What are the reforms of Theosophical Society? Propagated Hindu scriptures like Veda, Upanishads, wanted to spread these basic principles, attempted to find solutions by studying the ancient Indian thoughts, philosophies and theoretical ideals. Hence, the society basically tried for the reformation of Hindu religion. The Reformation Theosophical Society in India are called the Revival of Hinduism. The next question. What were the Reformation activities of Anne Besant? She aroused pride in Indian culture through her lectures. She attempted to establish equality, universal brotherhood and harmony in society. Anne Besant gave her full support to the freedom struggle. She started a newspaper called New India in 1916. She started Home Rule movement. She was the president of the Congress session in 1917. She contributed immensely to the Indian philosophy and the independence struggle. Make list of main aspects of Periyar movement. Periyar started Self-Respect League in 1926. Self-respect movement led by E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar became a new force. Started new movement based Dravida racial identity. He said Tamil is language of Dravidians. He opposed Sanskrit language and literature. He also rejected Rama and Vedic leader and accepted Ravana as the Dravidian leader. He championed equality and criticized caste and gender-based discrimination. He participated in temple entry movement held at Vaikam of Kerala. He became the president of Justice Party in 1939. He started association called Dravida. Kalagam, he also started Justice Periodical. Next question. Explain the contributions of Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yagam. This movement aimed strengthening the backward and exploitation communities. One caste, one religion and one God for human beings was the basic idea of Sri Narayana Guru. Education is the only path of achieve this, he declared. He built temples for the backward communities. They started Vaikam movement, a temple entry movement. Gandhiji and Periyar, the architecture of self-respect movement, participated in this. The temple entry of Guruvayuru temple was a major incident. Next question, that is from the First War of Indian Independence. What were the political causes of the First War of Indian Independence? Lord Dalhousie introduced doctrine of lapse. Due to this, Satara, Jaipur, Jhansi, Udaipur and many other states became the part of British Empire. They abolished the kingships of Tanjavur and Carnatic Nawabs. The British dethroned Mughal kings and many other kings. The soldiers dependent on the Indian kings became unemployed. Next question. What were the immediate causes for the First War of Indian Independence? A rumor spread that bullets of Royal Enfield guns were smeared with the fat of pig and cow. The cow sacred for Hindus and pig was prohibited for Muslims. When the soldiers were directed to load the bullets of gun by chewing off a part of bread, the soldiers of Barakpur revolted against the British officers. Indian soldier Mangal Pandey killed British officer. Next question. What were the administrative causes of the first war of Indian independence? The British brought many civil and criminal laws, discrimination in laws. English became the language of the court. The English judges gave judgment in favor of English. The Indians did not understand British law. Next question. How did military causes trigger the first war of Indian independence? The situation of Indian soldiers in the British army was pathetic. Indian soldiers did not have the status, salary and promotion perspectives that of the British soldiers. The pressure put on Indian soldiers for overseas work. A rumor spread that the bullets of Royal Enfield guns were smeared the fat of pig and cow. Next question. List out the reasons that led to the failure of Mutiny of 1857. It did not cover the every part of India. It was not a planned mutiny. The mutiny lacked direction and leadership. The Indian soldiers were lacked discipline and organizing skills. The freedom fighters lacked a definite aim. There was disunity among the Indian soldiers. There was unity among the British soldiers. By plundering and crimes, Indian soldiers lose the faith of common people. List out results of 1857 mutiny. The governance of East India Company came to an end. The governance of British government started. The agreements entered by the company with the local kings were accepted. Non-pursuance of regional expansion, providing a stable government for Indians, equality before the law, practicing of religious tolerance. What were the main aspects in 1858 Declaration of the British Queen? The agreements made by the British East India Company with the kings were accepted. Ambitious expansion plans had to give up. A stable government had to be provided to India. There would be a equality under the law. The government would exhibit religious tolerance, not to interference in the religious matters of the country. So that is the part of the history. 3 marks questions from the part of history. Let's move on to political science. So here is the political science questions. How does foreign policy aid a country to development? National progress can attain through a proper foreign policy with the other country. Otherwise, a country's national progress would be very limited. We cannot measure a country's national progress without its relationship with other countries of the world. Countries also cannot live in isolation. To get the most use of their natural resources, this will help economic progress of the country. Hence, every country needs to have foreign policy to regulate its interaction with other countries. Next question. What are the aims? What are the aims of India's foreign policy? National security, national economic progress, spreading Indian culture, values in abroad, increasing the number of friendly nations, achieving world peace and enable every nation to coexist. What are the aims of India's foreign policy? National security, national economic progress, spreading Indian cultural values in abroad, increasing the number of friendly nations, achieving world peace and enable every nation to coexist. Mention the factors that influenced the formation of our foreign policy. Or, what are the factors influencing India's foreign policy? National interest, geographical aspects, political situation, economic system, defense capability, international circumstances, etc. The next question. What are the fundamental factors of India's foreign policy? The fundamental factors of our foreign policy are Panchashila principles, non-alignment policy, anti-imperialism, disarmament. Which are the Panchashila principles adopted by India to improve the international relationship? The question can be also asked like this. What are the principles of Panchashila? Mutual respect for national integrity and sovereignty, non-aggression, non-interference in internal affairs, mutual assistance and equality, peaceful coexistence. The next question. India's relationship with other countries. Why do countries need to have good relationship with other countries? To protect national interests and world peace, for international trade, for a broad security, a border security, to maintain national respect. A country can never progress without interacting with other countries. What are the reasons for our strained relationship with China in recent days? China has annexed Tibet against India will. In 1962, China invaded India and won the war. China's calm over Arunachal Pradesh, one of our states, is a significant issue of India-China relationship. Our border is also not finally democrated. Even nuclear threat, foreign trade challenges, military advancements in border areas are some of the issues which strain our relationships with China. What attempts were made by India to get good relationship with Pakistan? Tashkent Agreement, Shimla Agreement, Lahore Bus Yatra and Agra Conference has been entered. What are the reasons for tension between the India and Pakistan? Terrorism, Jammu and Kashmir issue and water sharing disputes. Water sharing disputes. Both the countries have fought three-way wars, 1947, 48, 1965 and 1971 and again in 1999 Kargil War. Attacks on India Parliament House in 2001, Mumbai attack in 2007, Pathankot attack in 2016 and India-Pakistan have clashed over the years about Jammu and Kashmir issue. The relationship between India and America is cordial, justified. USA supported a lot to India's 5 years plan. USA has extended its support during Indochina War in 1965. But later, the political leaders of USA extended their support to Pakistan during the war between India and Pakistan. Many times, foreign policy of USA has been anti-India and pro-Pakistan. Interestingly, both India and USA have shared interest in controlling terrorism. India enjoys better relationship with USA in the fields of foreign trade, science and technology, space science, education and other areas of mutual interest. Both the countries share mutual responsibility, strengthening UNA and maintenance of global peace. Explain the India's relationship with Russia. India has cordial relationship with Russia. India had good relationship with Russia in the field of economics, politics and other areas. USSR had opposed China's invasion of India in 1962. USSR had supported the Tashkent Agreement between the India and Pakistan in 1966. In 1971, India and USSR signed an agreement of 20 years for the peace and cooperation. USSR had supported for the establishment of Bhilai and Bokaro steel plants. India has taken major support from Russia to improve its industries and technology. Russia has extended its support to India's quest for permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Why relationship between India and China is recently spoiled? What are the reasons for this? Or they may ask the questions like this. What are the reasons for our strained relationship with China in recent days? These nations have relations since Sindhu River civilization. Buddhism originated in India and flourished in China. Many Indian rulers invaded and have business relationship with Chinese rulers. Panchashila principle. China has annexed Tibet against Indian will. In 1962, China invaded India and won the war. China's climb over the Arunachal Pradesh, one of our state, is significant issue of Indo-China relationship. Our border is also not finally democrated. Even our nuclear threat, foreign trade challenges, military advancements in border areas are some of the issues which strained our relationships with China. India and China have established good trade relationship after 1980s. BRICS, a group of countries, was established in 2015. So that's it about today's session. I hope you have got an idea about the 3 marks questions that is from the part of history and political science. In the next video, I will continue the part of the remaining 3 marks questions that is from the sociology, geography, economics and business study. Until, keep watching my channel. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next session. Bye bye. Take care.